Hi, welcome to HobbyEXP. My name's Justin,
And my name's Henry.
and we're here today to talk to the man, the myth, the legend himself. Henry, congratulations. What did you
Thank you.
recently come undefeated in?
Yes, so we had the only Australian weekend beta battle, Friday night beta battle, something whatever the official format was called. Um, it was I guess it's so far been the biggest, I guess, competitive or biggest Gundam event
Mm,
so far in Australia. It was held at a local store here in Sydney in the city called Double Kill.
shout out to Double Kill
Yeah,
for hosting a
shout
great event. Thank you very much.
Yeah, yeah. No, honestly, big shout outs. Really good entry fee, like very cheap and fairly well run event as well. But yeah, I was able to go undefeated. There was, I think, 46, 47, like nearly 50 people there. So it was a fairly large event. Almost at the cap, which was good, and had um, a lot of people there who were keen to play Gundam, which is really cool, which was really good to see. And yeah, I was lucky enough to go 4-0, so I was undefeated. We had, I think, three undefeated people at the end of the fourth round, and luckily enough, they had three of the prize cards, the winner, the base card, and
How
they were
good?
like, "We'll
How
we'll
good?
just chop it up there," because if the pair down won, then we'd probably have to play two more rounds, which would have been
Yeah.
quite late in the night. So in saying that, was a great event, and I was very happy to go 4-0. That was a good little start to my Gundam adventure.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Congratulations. Amazing effort. The event was great, venue was great. I actually looked at the event itself. It looked like a max cap of 64 people. I'm sure that's probably quite small by comparison to our friends over in the United States and the rest of the world. But for us, that was, fantastic for us. And I think we were all just excited to just try an in-person event for Gundam. And obviously, we
Mm,
haven't had any yet, and it was great.
yeah, yeah, no,
So
it's really
to cut straight to the point, the deck you ran. Now I'm looking at it
mm,
right. We're looking at it right now on the
yep,
screen.
yep,
I gotta say, it's not quite what I thought you would play.
mm,
Um, I do see the Cheeky G Fighter. That was.
yeah,
I do
yeah,
remember that was the spice to your deck because for those who don't know, um, deploy, choose one of your white team base uh, units and give it high
units, yep,
maneuver, making it unblockable. So that's
yep,
obviously very clutch, helps to seal out games. But
yeah.
yeah, talk through the deck. What are the highlights, do you think?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So if you saw our previous video when we talked a bit about this format,
Mm, mm, mm.
this is very close to one of the decks that I talked about in that format. I made a few little tweaks to it. Um, and yeah, I can speak through those specifically. So I added in the Magnac,
Okay.
um, and I reduced gun take down to 3 instead of 4, and I also took Zaku 2 down, the level 1, 1 cost 1 to
Mm,
2.
mm.
Um, Mainly because, to be honest with you, currently in Gundam right now, the optimal thing to do is to go second. If you win that dice roll, you want to go second. Because really on turn one there isn't a lot of things to do. I mean, you can play this Zaku one, but it doesn't make a lot of impact with the EX base being on the board. Now things like that will change when we have the I believe they're called supporter cards that can buff up your
Yeah,
smaller
yeah,
things to
yeah.
swing over. But right now, there's not really a lot to do, and a lot of the like the blue white decks, or any of the kind of more mid-range control decks, they want to go second so they can have that EX resource to accelerate their levels mainly,
Mm.
so they can get the bigger things out early. So even though I'm like want to play low to the ground and small things, going second for me, is optimal because I take away what they want to do, and I also, obviously get the opportunity to start spamming out as many units as possible.
Yeah, you're able to go
So
kind of wide. Like you use that extra
yeah,
EX resource to play more
yep,
more
yep,
more units, but they're slightly bigger than what you obviously be getting for when you're going first, right? Because I imagine, you know, two Zaku 2s, the level 2 1 costs, could be kind of cheeky. You would use your EX resource, but at least having
Yep.
a 2/2 on the board would be kind of cool. Same with the
Yep.
GM,
Yep.
Maganak, like you just recently added in, is a good, great choice as well
Mm,
as a 3/2,
yeah.
level
Yeah.
2 for 2 costs. Yeah, yeah.
Let me talk about the Magnac thing specifically because that was a little bit of a niche thing. So the reason why I put Magnac in is because not only is it nice and well statted for a level
Hmm,
two
hmm,
cost
hmm.
vanilla unit, it also I'd found in some of my testing that like bases are obviously a pain in the butt for this deck because they can really slow you down because you're having a lot of these smaller units um, swinging, and the Magnac is because it has 3 AP normally. When you put like an Umro in it or when you put Char in it, it takes it to that 5 when you swing, so it actually helps you clear that base. So you
Oh,
don't have to rely
okay.
on your Charzaku 2s, your Gelgoog, your G fighters to do that. So it's just another target really for that. Now obviously it doesn't link, but doesn't matter if you've played it out the turn before. You can then play, Umra or Char on top of it to have that 5 attack power. So, yeah, really helpful for when people shields up and you don't have blockers and stuff to try and slow you down.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, outside of that, pretty straightforward. This deck just wants to go really wide with a lot of little guys and just swing away at their shields. You're never really fighting for the board, and if you lose board somehow, um, you're in big big trouble. So you're gonna have to fight hard to win it back. But yeah, um, it served me pretty well in the tournament. Maybe I should talk about my matchups.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
Like I'm
yeah,
I'm
let's do
I'm
it.
keen to understand what this deck
Yeah.
sort of was good against and what you maybe well you're undefeated, so you probably
Mm,
struggled a little bit. But I just
mm,
wanted to circle back slightly to the Maganac. I think that's a really good point that you've said there that bases definitely seem to be the bane of this because I'm just looking at the deck now. Even with Char, he gives a +1/+1, so Maganac gets to 4. But obviously if you're
when you swing, he gets an extra +1
yeah, yeah, yeah,
for
yeah.
with his
So,
effect. Yeah.
so like that's really good. It makes a whole lot of sense why, you'd use him to swing at bases. Because I was just thinking, like you said, this deck probably struggles against bases, right? It can take out the first EX base, but
Yep.
your white base, Archangel, and that sort of stuff will be quite tough for it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, the good thing about it is that bases are like a double-edged sword in the sense of like they have to take an extra shield once they play the base. So
Mm,
if you
mm.
can efficiently clear that base with only one swing,
Yep,
then
yep.
you're actually up. It's really good. And that's why I ran the additional magnets to be able to have that threshold to push that extra damage through.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah.
Makes a whole lot of
Um,
sense. Whole lot of
yeah.
sense. All right.
Um,
Your
awesome.
matchups. How were
Yes,
they?
matchups.
What were they?
What were they? Yeah. So everyone I played was really nice on the day, which is great. Round one was actually a guy I've played against. His name's Nathan, and I played against him in One Piece actually. I played
Cool.
against him in Nats.
Fellow
He's a
Bandai
really
players,
nice
man.
a fella. Yeah, yeah. Really nice guy. He was running. He unfortunately didn't have any of the beta cards, so he was running kind of the
Oh.
white blue demo decks together. Um,
Mm.
and that game was interesting. That I kind of I won the dice roll and got to go second, so I was pretty happy with that, obviously. And it kind of started off as you would expect, like me to do his deck, which is like playing little weenies out.
Mm.
It did get a little bit hairy towards the end of that game because he was stabilizing the board, and I was running out of gas pretty hard. I think I had like 2, 3 cards in hand, and I had a few things on board, but I was really struggling to get through. Kind of, I think he played a base, so I was really struggling to get through to really punch through those final swings. And I was very lucky in that one of my last draws was, I believe it was Amuro, so I could put that on one of my units and swing through to destroy the base and then go for game, which was really good because if I think I had gone maybe 1 or 2 more turns, I would have been in big trouble.
Yeah, sure.
Um, but yeah, I was a bit unlucky in the sense of like I didn't see a pilot until like you know maybe turn 5, or I think it was turn 5 or 6.
Mhm, mhm.
Um, but yeah, it was a really good game, and fairly close in the end. As close as in regards to what this deck can be close, because sometimes you can have like all your shields and stuff, but the moment you lose your board and you don't have a lot of cards in hand, you can really get run over really quickly. So
Mm. Well, that's
so
that's
yeah,
what that's what aggro is, right? You try and
mm,
face is the place, as they say.
exactly,
Um,
exactly,
hard and
exactly.
fast into their shield and their bases, and your opponent has the decision of, do I try and go for board, do I go for life, and it's never an easy decision for a player to make, and obviously
Yeah.
it's a it's a turning point on the match. So
Mm.
anyway, how was round two?
Round two. Now, to be honest with you, round two was probably my hardest match. Like,
Oh,
there was a turn where I thought I was going to lose, and it was just
mm.
some, you know, luck slash decent sequencing on my end to be able to get out of it. So, they were playing green white.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, definitely more of like a tempo-y mid-range deck.
Hmm.
Um, and as it went, I that was the only game where I lost the dice roll, so I did go first.
Okay.
So it puts you a little bit of the back foot, but not too bad. But it literally got down to the point where I had triggered or bursted a base off like
Nice.
my third or fourth life,
Nice.
um, which put me in a position where I could like defend myself a little bit better than before.
Hmm.
If I hadn't done that, I might have been in a bit more trouble. I don't know how the cards would have fallen, but it would have been a lot closer. But it literally got to the point where I had nothing on my board. He had like three or so. He had like two shields left. I had three cards in hand, and because I had a base, you know, I could survive his swings because he didn't have anything to swing over the base. Like he had three or so swings, but he couldn't swing over the base.
Because he would
I
need
was able to
like two for the one, and then he probably needed something more to get over to you. Oh,
Yeah,
right.
exactly right. He effectively needed like four swings to kind of get over what I needed to do. And sorry, the turn before that, I'd gone, okay, well, I'd accepted my fate. I'd played like my whole hand, which was like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
two two Zaku's and a wing Gundam. And I was like, if he can buff up one of his guys to swing over my base, I
He's
just
done.
lose.
Yep. Yep.
And unfortunately, I mean, I was kind of playing the odds because he had no cards in hand, so he was top decking too. So
Oh.
I was like, okay, he can't link me, like he can't play a rush unit
Yeah,
because
yeah,
you
yeah,
need
yeah,
two
yeah.
cards at least to do that. But also like, but yeah, if he did draw a pilot, I was kind of screwed. So anyway, he didn't draw a pilot, which is very good for me. And because I had wing on the board, he had a demi trainer out, so he had that 1/1 blocker out. But because I had
Oh.
wing on the board, it didn't matter because the wing can swing at it and then breach five. So I
Oh,
had
that's.
he had
Oh.
yeah, it was pretty juicy. He had three swing. He had two shields and I had three swing. Right.
Yeah.
So it was really just when he went for lethal, he couldn't get me, and then I just had to pray he didn't. Um,
Hit a base
his
or
last
something.
shield wasn't. Yeah, if his last shield was the base, I lose. So I just had
Yeah.
to pray that wasn't the case,
Yeah.
and yeah, luckily it wasn't. So that was really good. But yeah, an incredibly close game. Really, really close game.
Sounds
But a
like it, but
really good.
yeah,
Yeah.
the odds were clearly in your favor, sir.
Yes, they were. Thank God. Thank goodness. And then round four. Sorry, round
Three.
three
Because there was four
was
rounds, right? Total?
4 rounds. Yeah,
Yep.
4 rounds. Round three was white, another green white deck. And
Mm.
that was a very good game. That one was a bit more of like I saw what I needed to do. I guess the first two games weren't as kind of clean because it wasn't as I didn't draw as nice. But this game was incredibly clean.
Mm.
And my opponent, not that they bricked, they just kind of because I was so fast to the board and was
Mm.
able to like really spit out all my little units. They didn't have a lot to contest.
Yep.
So I was really able to kind of play that overrun game and just get all my little guys out and just swing, 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 swing. Um, and yeah, that one went over, you know, the way I'd hoped it would, with regards to like just spamming units on the board,
Yeah, the deck did
and
what it
just
was supposed to do, and yeah.
exactly right, exactly right,
And
exactly right. And
that was green white. You said you cut out just a little bit beforehand.
yeah, sorry, yeah, green white. So
Okay.
round two and round three were both green white.
Okay. Cool. 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 Cool.
Um,
Cool.
and then the final round was a blue white player.
Oh.
Um,
Okay.
and the round before I'd been sitting next to them playing their opponent. And they had, you know, the board state that I looked at in their game was like, oh my god, I'm very scared of this person because they had like two Gundams, two L strikes, a perfect strike, and I was like, oh my god, if
That's
this
a
guy does this to me, there's
wall of defenders, you know?
absolutely
Yeah.
no chance.
Yeah.
Um, but I thought to myself, I could get under those decks. If I'm fast enough and I have all my units and I play them, early, I can really get under these more control focused decks because they do need that like kind of level 3, level 4, level 5 to really get those big strong units out. And I'm gonna be honest with you, it was like just the god hand from me.
Yeah. Okay.
I won the dice roll, which is, thank goodness. And then I just turn 1. So he turn 1 didn't do anything. My turn 1, I played 2 of the Zaku twos, the one that gets +3
Yep.
AAP on the swing.
Oh,
So I played
juicy.
that on my first turn. So um, he actually played 2 overflowing affections. Uh,
No.
no, sorry, he played 3 overflowing affections in the first 2 turns, and sorry, the first 3 turns, and had pitched a show of resolve with one of those overflow. So he pretty much had all cards drawn in his hand, but the poor guy had nothing else.
It
So
just sounds like he
my
bricked and he was just digging for answers or an answer to your board. Overflow infection
100%.
is draw two, discard one, right?
Dodger just got exactly right. Yep.
Okay.
So he played that twice. Sorry, 3 times.
Yeah,
And the
yeah.
poor guy just didn't see anything early game.
Oh,
So yeah, my turn 1 was, double Zaku 2. My turn 2 was double Zaku 2, as in the 2/2 ones.
oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So I had 4 units on the board. He'd already lost his EX base and taken a shield,
Yep,
and then
yep.
he played. Sorry, he got a shoot. So then went back to my turn, and on my turn 3, I played Goff. What's it? Who's it?
Goof.
Goof. Goof. I played Goof, and I had got the token from Goof. So
Mm.
I had 6 units on the board on turn
You don't
3.
see that often. You do not see
No,
that often. That's scary.
no, because the poor guy just had nothing to answer any of my early units with.
Yeah,
So like he couldn't, so the board just kept growing and he couldn't answer anything. Anyway, he played 2 bases, but it just didn't matter. I just swing, swing, swing.
yeah.
Um, And yeah, the deck did what the deck was supposed to do and just go really wide and swing a million times, and yeah, and got the win. Um,
Hey,
so yeah, happy days.
yeah, congrats, man. Like that's just card games, right? Like sometimes you see the stuff
Yeah,
you need, sometimes you don't, and it's not the player's fault,
yeah,
just RNG or whatever you want to call it. But
yeah,
that's really awesome, man. Big
yeah.
congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Mm.
What event do you have your eyes on next?
Yeah, well, we'll get it, the starter deck battle events.
That's true. That's
The
true.
they're the next up and coming ones. So I've done a little bit of testing for that. It's like what would be strong in that.
Yeah.
So that'll be good fun. Hint, hint. I think it's blue white, the ST
Okay.
one. But anyway,
Okay. Okay.
I'm sure we'll talk about a bit more in in a future video. But yeah, great event, really well run. There was obviously a bit of skill, but a bit of luck involved in getting to win. So I was happy to get over the line in that regard. I actually had a lot of fun playing Gundam, which was great. I think this game is is really interesting.
Awesome. Good to hear. Good to hear.
Yeah, in some like decision points and stuff like that. It's another. I kind of explain it. It's another Bandai game where the board is king. Like board and tempo plays on the board is massive. But that's nothing wrong with that. That's really fun.
No, no. I
Um,
think a lot of card games are similar in that sort of way, but there's
mm,
ways that we can interact with it. Like,
yes.
we're up to OP11 in the English format for One Piece. I don't like we've seen very niche versions of a board wipe. Like I think of Magic the Gathering instantly.
Yeah.
Obviously a big board. It has no maximum amount of slots. Having a big board and swinging obviously take your opponent from 20 life to zero. Whatever format you play to zero life is obviously
Mm,
very important. But they have board wipes and that sort of thing to deal with it. While I feel that One Piece is still a board centric kind of game, but you really have to play units more efficiently and trade
yeah.
units and that sort of stuff. There's no like Black Hole from Yu-Gi-Oh. There's no like
No.
Wrath of God from Magic or something like that. But
Yeah.
funnily enough, there is a pseudo Wrath piece in Gundam coming up where I think it actually is Wing Gundam. You play him, he does like 3 damage to like everything on the board or something,
Everything. Yeah.
some nonsense. So who knows?
Mm,
Maybe Bandai will take a different spin on this by comparison to One
yeah.
Piece.
I think they'll need it because like the going wide, small and
Mm,
wide strategy, in the with the current card pool and stuff, and I think even into like the first the first format,
mm,
I think will be very strong way to play the game.
mm, 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 mm.
Specifically when you look at like the level system in the game. The one thing that I think they kind of like
drop the ball on.
I want to see how that evolves with
Sure,
the game and additional card pools. Is the like the EX resource going second, and how much of an impact that'll have
sure,
um,
sure.
on the game, because it does, at least currently, it does create such a like, not even having the additional resource like as a thing to play something out is the important part. It's having the additional level, like being able
Hmm.
to play something
Yeah.
bigger earlier is huge value. Specifically for these more late game decks to run higher level things. Like if you have that resource, and funnily enough, when I spoke to my opponent on that last round, the one that kind of just unfortunately I did everything I need to do just to
Hmm.
steamroll it.
Hmm.
He was saying like, yeah, this my deck's like kind of can't function without the the additional EX resource. Like the fact that I just need to go second and I get that, and my deck's like godly. If I don't, it's like really tough. So um, it'll be interesting to see how that evolves.
Agreed, agreed.
But
The only
yeah,
parallel I make is that One Piece has, if you're going second, you got two Don, but then and you do technically still play bigger characters, and I guess Gundam's dealt it with in a way where the EX space is EX resource is temporary. Like when you use it, like
yes,
in Hearthstone, the gold disappears. So
yeah,
that's the thing that kind of like, oh,
mm,
okay, offsets it a little bit. They learn a little bit from One Piece, where yeah, two Don you can play like a two cost character that's like stronger than obviously the one cost and stuff like that. And then you go to three, then four, and so on and so forth. So I do agree, it is definitely an interesting way to see how this game grows. I think most people, and I'm sure you probably did the same as well, if I'm going second, I'm going to hold on to that EX resource for as long as I can, simply because the extra level gets me just that little bit more juice out of my stuff. And as seen in your deck, it seems like the vanillas that are, you know, doesn't need necessarily need to have a really cool ability, but they just
mm,
hit a little harder for
yeah,
that extra level and resource, and you know, you're golden. So
yeah,
who knows? It kind of reminds me of Digimon when it first came out.
big
Uh,
time.
Rush and like jamming where you don't where when you flip the shield, it doesn't you don't fight the thing and that sort of stuff, and you've got high maneuver here. So curious to see where that goes. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think yeah. Yeah, it's a cool mechanic. Don't get me wrong. I really like it. I really like, because I do think like it really it makes the game a lot more like, it's not like other games. Like
Yeah,
there's
yeah,
elements of
yeah,
other games
yeah.
in this game, and it's not like other games. But I do think it's like it's something they'll need to kind of manage, because I do think it might get a bit out of hand, like with so many decks wanting to go second, and you don't really want to get into a situation where the dice roll, is the dice roll for whoever goes first or second is like, really skewing your matchups in one way or not, because I feel like
Yeah,
that's a bit of a feels bad. So
yeah. Like like I lose because of a dice roll again,
yeah,
but
exactly. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Anyway, thank you so much
yeah.
for your time. This has
No,
been
you're welcome.
really insightful. Check us out for the upcoming videos we got going. We'll be getting
Yeah.
the starter decks will be out fairly soon,
Yep.
and we'll be definitely doing a review of that. And yeah, good luck at your own events, whoever's watching this. And
Yeah.
yeah, till next time. Have a good night.
Bye.